Hey guys, my name's Dee, this is Heroine's Corner and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing my February wrap-up. So before I start this video, I do want to say a big thank you to all the new subscribers that I've gained recently. This is the first time me filming for like around 2 weeks now, so the last time I was filming I had like around 250 subscribers, I think, and now I have like close to 700 subscribers, so that is absolutely mental. And I do want to just say thank you, and I appreciate every subscriber, every comment, every like, just everyone who like retweets my my tweets after I upload a video. I just want to say like a big thank you to everyone for doing that, and I really hope you like my channel and the content I'm putting on my channel. And yeah, just a big thank you. I just want to get my appreciation out there. Let's go straight into the wrap up. I read 7 books, and that's okay. I was really aiming for around 10 books this month, but I underestimated how stressful February was going to be. February was such a stressful month, and it's obviously like the shortest month as well, so you think you have time for like all these different deadlines that are coming up, and you don't. So February was a bit of a weird month, but I did read 7 books, and most of them were good books. I didn't read like terrible awful books. I'm rambling a lot, so let's just get straight into the books that I read this month. So the first book I read in this month was Pep by Akwaeke Emezi, and I absolutely loved this book. I gave it 4.5 stars when I read it, and it was just such a fascinating read, and it was probably, I think this was my first YA that I've read this year as well, and it just got me into that mood where I just want to be reading fantastical stories following like young protagonists. But yeah, so this is essentially a magical realism contemporary YA book, and the book is set in Lucille, and in Lucille there are no monsters at all. All the monsters have been gone, banished, locked away, until there is one, and we follow the main protagonist Jam as she hunts down this rogue monster before they do any more damage. And that's all I want to say about this book, because going into this book blind was like one of the best things when it came to reading the story and how the story was unraveling. I absolutely adored all the fantastical elements in this book, and it wasn't too heavy. Jam is transgender as well, so we love that representation. Beware of some triggers. I don't want to say them in this video because the trigger is kind of like a big spoilery element of this book. But yeah, absolutely love this book. Gave it 4.5 stars, and I can't wait to read more of Emezi's works. The next book I read was my book for the Classics Community Challenge 2021, and but for that I read Annie John by Jamaican Kincaid, and this is a coming of age story set in Antigua, and essentially at the heart of this story is a mother and daughter relationship, and we see how this relationship slowly crumbles essentially, and it was a really strong relationship at the start of this novel, but as time goes on, I think this book is set like within like a 12-year period. We see how both of these characters kind of drift apart and how their opinions of each other just change like very drastically. And yeah, I really love this book. I gave it 4.5 stars. It didn't do anything too profound for me, so that's why I can't really give it like a 5 stars, but I really just love the story that was being told, and I really appreciated the story that was being told as well. I really want to read more of Jamaican Kincaid's work, and yeah, I just really loved this book. And I feel like while I was reading it, because it goes by so quickly, I wasn't like appreciating the talent and the artistry and the writing and in the narrative, and it was only kind of at the end when I had to like think about the story. I really just enjoyed how the story was told. So the next book I read in February was Queenie by Candice Carty Williams, and this was a book that was on my Black British TBR, so I'm happy that I'm kind of whistling down that TBR now. But this was kind of a spontaneous read. I was just like, the gold cover just kept like drawing my attention to it, so I'm like, okay, let me just actually read this book. And I absolutely loved this book. It was such a fun, such an exciting vibrant read. The voice of these of the main character was just so vibrant and relatable, and I just really love that about this book. So in Queenie we follow Queenie, who is a 20-something-year-old like Black British woman who is going through a rough time in her life essentially. She's having romance troubles, she's having career troubles, she's just a bit lost, and throughout this novel you do just want to shake her shoulders and say, can you please like get a hold of yourself. It's just like, you know what I mean? But it was very realistic how she just kept stumbling and falling and just you know, making all these mistakes and bad decisions. It was very honest and truthful, and I really enjoyed that about this book. And I love the elements around mental health and familial relationships. I really enjoyed that aspect of this book. And I really enjoyed her Caribbean grandparents as well. That was such like a fun addition to the narrative and like just the conversations that they were having with Queenie. But yeah, I can see why everyone really loves this book, because even though it deals with some like heavy-ish topics, I will put some triggers on the screen now. Even though it deals with some like heavy-ish topics, the narrative is very bouncy. Can you say a narrative is bouncy? I don't know, it's very just lively, and nothing got too heavy and nothing dragged on too much. It was just a very fast read. Did I say how many stars I gave it? I give this like around 4.5 stars again. I would highly recommend this book, but I feel like half of BookTube has already read this book, so yeah. I think the next book that I picked up was The Book of Echoes by Rosanna and Amaka, and this is a multi-generational story. Is it multi-generational, multi-decade story? So we basically follow the descendants of an enslaved woman in the 1800s, and one of her descendants is in 1980s London, specifically Brixton, and then one of her other descendants is in Nigeria in the 1980s. And we basically follow the lives of these two descendants and how they differ, how they're similar, and how things may overlap. It was such a this book was such a compelling read. This was one of the kind of surprising reads of this month, to be honest, because while I was reading it, I was thinking, okay, this might drag a bit, to be honest. Like the first couple like 50 pages I was like, this is slightly dragging, but it really picked up, and I really became immersed in the two different characters and their storylines. And the character that's, or like the descendant that's in London, he deals with more problems surrounding his race and being like a black man in London. And then the descendant in Nigeria, she, like, her issues are more surrounded are more related to her gender as well. So just seeing like the racial issues and then the gender issues in like these two different, completely different settings was just so interesting to read. But yeah, I really just got involved in their stories, and I really just enjoyed reading about them, to be honest. And at the end of the book, I really was just like connected to these characters, and again, I just really wasn't expecting that from this book. So this was a dark horse of a book. And then the next book I picked up was Black Sunday by Tolerotemi Abraham, and I did do a review about this book, so I'll link that, but also I won't talk about it too much in this video now. But to sum up my thoughts, I thought this was a decent book. It had potential to be a great book, and that's why it was more of an average like read for me. I really did enjoy Tola Abraham's like writing, and I do want to read more of like her works in the future, because this is just her debut novel. So I'm not being too harsh on her. I do want to read more of her works in the future. But yeah, this book is set in Nigeria in the late 90s, and we follow these two twin sisters, and we basically just follow their relationship over the course of like several years, and we see how they slowly drift apart. If you want to see my more complete and detailed thoughts, check out my review. And then on to my favorite read of the month, and that was The Confessions of Franny Lantern by Sarah Collins. And I absolutely adored this book. Like, I started reading it in 2020, and I put it down because I just wasn't in the mindset to finish the story basically, but I was enjoying it. And then in February, I just felt a yearning to complete the story and to just be like, I've completed this book now. We start the narrative with Franny being on trial for murder, for murdering her two kind of like employers, essentially, who were like well-known upper middle class figures in like London society, and she's accused of murdering them. And we follow kind of like two different timelines. So we follow the timeline of her being actually on trial, and then also follow a more flashbacky timeline. So we go back to when she's a house slave in Jamaica, and we follow her life from that moment up until like she's accused of murder. Really adored this book. I really enjoyed the character of Franny and being in her perspective and seeing the kind of life, the life of an educated mixed race girl who was a slave, and then she's kind of just living out her life, and she just wants the best for herself. And I really connected with that like aspect of her character. She wants more for her life than what should be her life. And this book really showed how essential education was to Black people at the time if they wanted to advance. I do want to say that this book also has a sapphic element to it, which I didn't know. Yeah, it was one of the good kind of surprises, and I really enjoyed how that like influenced the narrative. And this book wasn't predictable. Franny's perspective and story was just so compelling. And yeah, all I want to say is read this book. Please just read this book. It's a Black historical novel written by a Black British author, and please just read this book. I remember the last book that I read in February was Under the why did I not know the title? Oh, I can't speak. Under the Idolatries by Chinelo Okparanta, and I really enjoyed this book. I thought this would be more of a 5-star read, to be honest, but it was 4-star read, so it was still good. So this book is set in the Biafran War in Nigeria, and the main character is basically separated from her mother, and during that separation she discovers that she's gay, and that is basically the main aspect of the story. And also her religion, like her religious mother, and trying to weigh those up. And I really enjoyed how at the start of this book she was very confident, very like solid in her like sexuality, and you know, I mean, just in herself and in her identity. And it's only when she's like older that she really starts questioning stuff, and she's really going through a lot like in her older years, that makes her feel less certain about like who she is. And I really enjoyed that aspect of the book. I wasn't expecting that, like, because you'd think it would be like the other way around, but it really wasn't. And I enjoyed the conversations around religion in this book, and also like just societal commentary about like Nigeria. So this book was a very solid read. I feel like it's just because my expectations of this book were high. Like I really thought this was going to be a 5-star, and it just turned out to be a 4-star. But yeah, it's still a great read, and I would recommend it. So these are the books I read in February. So overall a good kind of reading month. Even though I did want to read more, all these books by one were 4 stars and more, so you can't really ask for anything more than that, can you? Yeah, thank you for watching my January wrap-up, guys. Remember to like and subscribe if you like my video. Remember to comment down below if you've read any of these books, or if these books are on your TBR, or just what your favorite book of the month was that you read in February. And yeah, I just want to say again, thank you for so many subscribers. Remember to follow my Twitter and follow my Bookstagram, because I finally got a Bookstagram now, guys. So follow my Bookstagram. All the links will be down below. But again, thank you for watching my video, and I'll see you guys soon on another video. Bye.